You did it. You got pre-qualified, you know your budget. Now it's time to find the house. If you haven't gotten pre-qualified yet, I have another video that talks about everything you can do to get started with that process. So if you're not pre-qualified yet, this is not the video for you. But if you are, and now you're out there searching, you might be getting discouraged because other people are buying them out from under you, whatever the excuse is. I want to give you some tips and things that have helped my buyers and things that I've helped them with in the past and that I've seen help buyers win homes and the right homes so that they don't have that buyer's remorse, right? You don't want that buyer's remorse. You don't want to rush into this. This is probably one of the most expensive things that you will buy up to this point in your life, especially if you're a first-time home buyer. There's some things you want to know and some things that I'm going to get into, again, that I've seen that will help you make sure you're choosing that right house and getting the best possible deal. Now, the good news is the budget piece of it, you should have had that conversation. If I'm your loan officer, we definitely had that conversation. If I wasn't your loan officer, what are you doing? Why did you get pre-qualified with someone else and then come watch my video? Go talk to your own loan officer. No, I'm just kidding. You can keep watching. And usually when I pre-qualify someone, they kind of have a number in their mind of where they want their monthly payment. Most people have an idea. Of course, there's always the jokers that are like, I just want it to be zero. Funny, yeah. Guess what? It doesn't work that way. So let's say you want your payment at like $2,500 a month. So what I'll do is I'll usually show you, here's what $2,500 a month equals in a purchase price based on your down payment in the loan program that we've got you pre-qualified for. Then usually there's a secondary number, which is your maximum loan amount. So let's say that $2,500 a month got you $350K as a purchase price, but you can qualify for up to $425,000. So again, this is where your budget, this is where you're trying to keep your budget, but this is what you actually qualify for on paper. I recommend setting the search up between those two numbers. Always go to the max price point and honestly, go like 10 to 15K above your max purchase price. Because with the right house, we might be able to negotiate that sales price down. So I recommend from the bottom of your sales price, or usually what your comfort level is, all the way to that max sales price plus another 10 or 15K. Now, how do you find the homes? How do you search for them? Well, this is where you're going to need a real estate agent. A lot of bullshit in the news about like the real estate agent's buyer's commission. And there's not any set rules as of right now. I cannot make the blanket statement that the seller always pays for the buyer agent's commission, because that is not always the case now. But in most cases, if there's a real estate agent helping you as a home buyer to purchase the home, they get paid a commission from the seller of the house that you're buying. With me so far? Kind of confusing. My wife's a real estate agent. I should know this stuff. But however, there was a lawsuit and there was some crazy shit that went down to where they're saying it's not fair that the seller should have to pay that buyer's commission. As of right now, I'm still doing loans every single day. And for the most part, I'm seeing all the sellers paying the buyer's agent commission. So as a home buyer, in most cases, your real estate agent will get paid by the seller. So that shouldn't be money out of pocket. Again, there's a lot going on to that. I don't want to get into the gist of the whole NAR settlement, and they don't really have an exact plan of action. And I'm not a real estate agent, so I'm not here to get into all that legal bullshit with you. But just know, for the most part, if you're a home buyer, it's still massively beneficial to use a real estate agent to help you with your home search. Because again, in most cases, not saying a blanket statement, they get paid by whoever you're going to be buying that house from. You want to make sure you have a good real estate agent. The right realtor definitely matters. They're just like the right lender matters. These are the individuals that are not only going to be showing you these homes that are available in your price range, they're also going to be making the negotiations on your behalf. Now, I've got a few other videos that talk about strategies that go into how to make offers. That's not the purpose of this one. This one is just to make sure that you're doing all the right steps so that you can find that right house, and some recommendations to make sure that it's the right one and you don't get buyer's remorse. So you want to have a very upfront conversation with your real estate agent about, number one, non-negotiables, things that you cannot live without. It has to have 3 bedrooms. It has to have 2 bathrooms. It has to have a pool, or maybe it doesn't have to have a pool. So make a list of everything that you absolutely have to have and everything that is maybe optional. And if you've got a good real estate agent, they're going to be straight up with you. And if your must-have list does not match your budget for what you're qualified for, they should be telling you that. And if they're not, you might want to find a new real estate agent, because you want someone that's going to be upfront and just be straight up with you. You don't want someone that's just going to be a yes man, be like,
oh yeah, we can make that work. You want a 10,000 square foot house on 4 acres, brand new swimming pool, move-in ready, tile floors for $250K? Sure, we can make that happen.
You serious?
Not in Arizona, not in California, not in any of the places I have my license. So you need to be realistic, right? But there are going to be some things that you have to have on that list, and you shouldn't stray from those. For me, when I bought my very first house, I wanted to make sure it had at least 3 bedrooms, because when I bought it, I had planned to live in one and rent out the other 2. I was looking for 4, and actually I did end up finding one, a 4-bedroom, but because of my budget at the time frame, I knew it wasn't realistic. Luckily, I was still able to find one. That type of stuff, you want to at least let your agent know what your negotiables and non-negotiables are. Square footage. This one's kind of funny. Like, again, as a first-time home buyer, I didn't really care too much about square footage. I didn't want to be living in a tiny little box, but like, it didn't have to be super huge. So square footage is still something you should be talking about with your real estate agent as far as how big of a house you're looking for. Do you have kids? What are the school districts like in the areas that you're wanting to purchase in? Do they have good school districts, bad school districts? If you don't have kids, you don't really need to worry about that. But if you're planning on having kids, maybe you're a young couple or a younger, guy or gal, you know that probably in the next 5 or 6 years you're going to be having kids, and you know you're going to be in the house for the next 5 to 6 years, something to think about. So you always want to think a little bit in the future when going to make these purchases. How about the noise level of the house? Where is it located? Is it right next to a freeway or a busy street? This house right here actually backs up against a fairly busy road. Our block wall only goes halfway up, and then the rest is a view fence. During certain times of the day, it gets kind of noisy in my backyard with all of the car noises. So that may be a deterrent for someone that may want to buy this house. For me, I didn't care. That's why I bought it. It doesn't bother me at all. Plus I have a pool with waterfall. I can just turn the waterfalls on and drown out the road noise. But again, something you want to think about. So when you go to look at that house, or when you narrow it down and you go and look at it, look at the surrounding area. Visit it during different times of the day, different days, weekdays compared to weekends, nights, mornings. And you don't have to schedule a showing each time. Maybe just drive by, see what the neighborhood feels like, get a good vibe. Yeah, I'm a big fan of just feeling it. Sometimes you just feel it, and you got to take that trip 2 or 3 times to be able to really feel it and find out if that house is the right one for you. What's the layout of the house? This is important. You want to look at the flow. This is going to be something you're going to be living in, day out. Is it choppy? Do you want it, separated out with lots of hallways or big open living? In my opinion, that's a kind of a non-negotiable thing, but to others, it's negotiable. I've always wanted an open floor plan, and that was something I had to have every time I've bought in a house. Home types. What type of home? There's several different types of homes, and the loan qualifications as well as the interest rate and programs will vary depending on the type of home that it is. Your most basic one, the one that most people get, is the single family home. That's like this one, right? A standard, we call it a stick-built home. Somebody poured a foundation, built it up, whatever, right? That is a single family home. Townhouses and or condos. There is actually a big difference in the lending world between a townhouse and a condo, but for the most part, the way they look is around the same. A condo is going to be almost like your own little house, but it's attached to maybe someone else's house, and there's a large HOA, and you have to pay a monthly fee, and in many cases they'll take care of like the trash and the electricity and different things like that. When I was looking at my very first house, one of the options, because I couldn't qualify for very much, was a condo. And so I went and looked at it, and it was 3 stories, a lot of stairs, and I just could not see myself living in a condo. It wasn't for me, even though I was a single guy. Like, I knew it was something I could handle and it would be fine, but it wasn't for me. So just think about that type of stuff, because a lot of people love condos. I think once I get older and retire, I'd probably love to have a condo and have everything taken care of. And then manufactured homes. For whatever reason, I do tons of manufactured homes. I spent the first 2 years of my mortgage career in an area very saturated with manufactured homes, so I know a lot about them. You want to definitely make sure you know what you're getting into with those ones. They're great investments, and in many times you can get them at a much lower price and sometimes on a decent lot. But there's a lot of little nuances and a lot of potential out-of-pocket costs that can happen with manufactured homes if you're looking to finance them and get a loan for them, especially if you need a government-backed loan like an FHA loan or a VA loan. A lot of extra steps. You need to make sure you have a savvy loan officer that knows a lot about manufactured home if that's the type of home you're looking to pursue. And then the location. I know we talked about this with the school zones and things like that. How far of a drive is it to your work if you have to commute every single day? I always recommend, if you really like that house, try taking a drive from that house to your work to see kind of what it would feel like during the normal time of day that you would be driving to work. And then just, overall, like how close is it to gas stations, to grocery shopping, to places that you want to visit regularly. So location is everything. Every real estate agent is going to tell you location is everything, and obviously depending on where you're going to buy will drastically change in price, especially here in Arizona, California, Texas. As you all know, there's lots of different areas. Depending on where you want to be, the prices will be very different. 10,000 square foot house in Scottsdale is going to be a very different price than a 10,000 square foot house in my hometown of Holbrook, Arizona. So a very different place, different locations. And then finally, do you want a move-in ready home, or are you okay with a little bit of a fixer-upper? I feel like everybody wants a move-in ready home these days, and I get it because it's nice just to be able to plug and play, right? But just know in most cases, you are gonna pay a little bit more of a premium. For those that are willing to do the work, or maybe you're a little bit handy, you've got some time, you can take something that's maybe older and make it better. We've got great options for that because we've got fun things like renovation loans or just fix it up over time. I personally have almost always bought brand new construction homes. But what's fun with that, well, there's pros and cons. There's pros and cons to a brand new house. Number one, it's definitely move-in ready. However, depending on the builder and what it all comes with, you have to furnish it with a lot of other little extra things. The one that I still talk about is blinds. When I bought my very first house as a 23-year-old kid, the house did not come with blinds. It was a brand new. I got it, I was the first person to live in it. I got to see it be built, got it at a great price. It was way out in the middle of nowhere. It was all I could afford. 18 windows in this house, and none of them had blinds. And I'm like, the house next door to me is like from here to here. Like my side yard is about this big, so everyone can see into my house from the side yard. Blinds are expensive. I had no idea. I went to Home Depot.
Okay, so this is one blind for one window and it says it's $90. Is that for like the set?
No, that's the one blind. I'm like, cool, okay, so yeah, I'm gonna be getting these paper blinds that are like 20 bucks for a 10 pack. It's crazy expensive, and that was an expense I hadn't prepared for. I had no idea how expensive blinds were. I literally got those little stick-on ones and put them on all my windows to have a little privacy, and then every paycheck I would buy one new blind that I could install until I finally finished the whole house. So it took me 18 months. One last thing about new builds, because this was the whole reason I didn't want to buy a new build again, even though I ended up doing it. New builds will always have a blank slate for a backyard. It is expensive to do landscaping, to make a backyard. It's expensive. So just know that if you're gonna buy a brand new house, even though the home is move-in ready, you're gonna have a dirt backyard and it's gonna cost a decent budget to get it ready to go. So these are some of my top tricks for making sure you're finding the right house, you're asking the right questions, but it all starts with that real estate agent and the relationship you have with them. Interview real estate agents. There's tons of them. If you went and knocked down the street you currently live on, there's probably 3 realtors that live on your street. They're everywhere. Make sure you talk with someone that has references, that knows what they're doing, they have experience, and ultimately fill in the vibe. Make sure their schedule meets your schedule, and it doesn't always have to be tons of experience, because I've met a lot of 30-year realtors who suck, and ultimately that will help you find the right house. And then when you do find it, make sure to give that loan officer a call, give me a call, run through those numbers. That way you know exactly what that offer looks like, how to present it, and that will ensure that you get the best possible deal for that house. And there's no surprises when it comes to the monthly mortgage payment, and it makes it a great, fantastic experience.